Hey guys, today I'm going to hit the Lo Storto Slant from Fatip again. This is the brush I mentioned in the mail call video recently. It's got a Bristle Brushwerks handle and it's got a knot that I'm really happy to be trying out today. I did a test lather and it seems like this B9A knot is going to be more friendly in terms of backbone than the other one that I've been using recently. 24 millimeter. Of course, declaration grooming. If you don't know, that B code usually goes with declaration knots. The Lo Storto has been tried with the Nasset and the Gillette Silver Blue, and it comfortable in general, but when I try to shave my trouble spot very closely, I've been generating a little bit of irritation, and so I'm just trying different blades with it to see what happens, to see if I can dial in the right one. Maybe my technique needs to be modified. One time I used it to mow down 3 days of growth, and it almost did it in 2 passes. So there's some really cool things going on about this razor, and I'm just going to play around with it. I enjoy the feel of it, and we're going to try a different blade in it today, the Astra Superior Platinum. A nice, very nice budget blade. In terms of bang for the buck, that might be the one that's at the top of my list. They're really inexpensive. They work in just about every razor I have, working well. The soap that I have is that Carnivale since it's got the E on it, I'm pronouncing it as Carnivale, from Storybook Soapworks, and APR down in Australia did the scent, and then Storybook did the soap base, and it's a wonderful, wonderful soap base. I love the performance. I don't know why I'm surprised every time I use a Storybook soap that in the lather you can push so much water into it and it still stays creamy and wonderful and luxurious. And that's exactly where I like my soaps. He had to close down maybe in 2020, late 2019. With COVID, everything's kind of running together in terms of the date to focus on more important pursuits. And so that's cool of him. And the first time I used this, for maybe 75% of the shave, I was smelling that cloyingly sweet, intense fruit scent. I think plums and apricots were mentioned in the scent description. And that's kind of strong now, and I'm wondering if those kind of forward notes might fade from the puck over time. I might like that, actually. I would be very interested in smelling some of those other notes that are around and in this accord. Unfortunately, they don't start coming around until maybe the 3rd pass. But I'm going to give it a fair shake, use it another time at least, and as well, sometimes your nose gets used to different parts of a scent. And then you start to notice other things that you didn't notice before. That's another reason to give a soap more time if it doesn't immediately grab your attention. Speaking of grabbing your attention, you faithful viewers no longer have to look at my raggedy head. It's been so long since I needed a haircut. I finally have a haircut. And I look older now in a sense, younger because my hair is shorter, but older because there's less darkness on the side as more gray keeps coming in. And that's just the way it goes. And my little bald spot is you know, it's what it is. No problem there. All right, so let's get, well, small problem. A surmountable problem that I don't really have a issue dealing with. I am, in a way, I'm proud to represent bald dudes, or at least dudes with tiny little, eventually it'll be a tiny little Homer Simpson piece of fluff up there at the top. All right. Let us take the Astra, and this is my test one that I'm only going to use, you know, 10 or 12 times and then replace it. Superior Platinum, and it has been used Looks like this might be its ninth shave. One of the posts on this particular Lo Storto razor is welded a little bit in the wrong place. And I don't know which one it is, but it's out more away from the center pin, and it's good and bad. It's good because it does not allow any play with the razor blade. And it's in the sense that it's, and that's good also because it doesn't allow you, you don't have to fiddle with it. You don't have to try to center it. But it's bad in the sense that on one of the sides, it's not quite centered exactly. And so sometimes with Fatip, that's just kind of what you get, is what I'm hearing. Most of my other Fatip razors, I've got several, the open comb and the closed comb, and they all are awesome. I might take a little alignment, but I can make them all be just right. This one is the first one I've had that the QC was bad enough to where I'm not able to correct it. However, I'm enjoying the shaves. And in a way, it's, sometimes I can't even tell the difference. I haven't even tried, and it hasn't been an issue where I felt one side was different than the other. So to me, who cares? All right. So that blade is in there. Let me splash my face. All right. Looking forward to, this is the real, I did a test lather, but this is the real run with this brush. I normally stray away from orange as a color, but if I'm going to get an orange brush, this is the one I want. The iridescence, the transparency that's created with this pour is just intriguing and wonderful. I really like it. I'm going to shake much of the water off. All right, now last time I used this, I did a 30-second load. It was a different brush, but it's actually a similar size knot, so I think it's comparable. And it's a similar brand knot. It is the B9A, so you couldn't get much more similar and still have a different knot. So, but let's reduce it down from 30 because I had a lot of lather left over. Let's try 20. So I'm starting at the 30 mark, so we'll go to the 50 mark to have our 20-second load. And we'll just see if that gives us enough lather. And there we go. Kind of like before, it got moist and wet and frothy, but not quite so much that it overflowed. Very polite loading there. Take my Roger Quintero lather bowl, 3D printed. I'm starting to see a lot more 3D printable bowls out there in the shaving world. Some that were this design. One guy took this design and modified it a little bit, which is just fine. That's what the Thingiverse website is for, to share designs. You can download them and then modify them. He put little bumps in between all the ridges. There's this one company that kind of took it a little too far though, taking designs. They took the samurai design from Paladin shaving, and it's not a 3D design. And they've been putting out that, you know, samurai handle and you know, turning it themselves. They've been putting out that handle for a few years now. Totally unique creation on their part. As far as they can tell in shaving history, there has never been a shape like that out there. And so it's original for them. And this one company 3D printed a handle, created a design that was basically the exact same thing as the Paladin Samurai handle, and now they're selling it. And the handle's even trademarked, you know, but it's really hard for small companies to engage in, you know, identity, intellectual property, you know, theft with the legal system and all that, you know, so I don't know if they're going to be able to do anything about it. And they're just selling. It's a dark something. is the name of their Etsy channel or whatever. 2 teaspoons now in the lather. Passing that handle design off as their own. Unethical for sure. I've got a great little Williams mug lathering technique to show you guys soon. Maybe in the next couple of weeks after I get through some of the new soaps that I've shown you guys that I'm going to do. I came across it just when I was whipping up test lathers, and I use Williams to clean my brushes when I get a new brush in, for instance this one, and I discovered, wow, this lather that I just created kind of simply is tremendous. I'm also feeling a lack of backbone here. It's not nearly as strong as his brother with that TDR handle with the red ferrule on it. So this, I'm very encouraged with this guy. That's pretty. I want to give it a little bit more water. But that's looking pretty good. It looks like it'll be enough lather as well. So I'm glad that knocking it down 10 seconds didn't cost me. Didn't make me undershoot. Creamy. It's got a very pretty sheen on it. Pillowy. Like marshmallow cream. Wonderful lather here. Storybook is just some good stuff. And this was his base even before a lot of these newer things came along. I think he's kind of underrated. Really deserves more credit than more acclaim, more kudos than he got. I'm going to top off with the 4 teaspoons, and I remember that peak was just sitting straight up in the middle of the bowl just now. I'm going to add a little bit more water because of that. I bet it'll take it. Now, these B9A tips are not super soft. They're not nearly as soft as my B5s, my B4s. I got a feeling they just didn't undergo as much chemical treatment as those other brushes. Now that could be good because that may mean this brush, this knot, could last a lot longer than the others. It might last, 12 years of shaving instead of 7 if you were to do consecutive shaves. Now I'm just guessing at those numbers. Don't hold me to that at all. Look at that awesome lather. Why don't we just go ahead and use it? And I can feel look how wide the splay is. It's really holding in that lather. I think this brush is going to be a winner. Let me get my face wet. All right, boys and girls. Looking forward to trying out this brush in a real world scenario. I do feel that density in the middle, but it's much more relaxed than the other one. It's not splaying out as easily as a 3-band, a silver tip type of brush, but I think this is a winner. It's got a big splay too. It's just a 24mm knot, but this is a big splay. Looks like I've nailed the lather. It's slinging off as I'm moving quickly. Looks like it's just right. Very wet, but has a nice creamy look to it. So we've covered my face, we've kind of worked the lather up to kind of where it's going to be. So should I stop now? No. I like to make sure that I work it into my skin. And so that's why I keep going a little bit. And some people claim that bowl lathers don't really get to experience their wonderful brushes like face lathers do, but to be honest, I think I may work my face just as long or longer than some face lathers do. So I think that rule may not always be true. And here's something that sometimes keys me into the fact that my lather could use more water if I wanted to push more into it. If we've just got excess thicker stuff around the brush here, falling out from the side of the brush, if I've got excess here around my goatee, that's just kind of building up during the shave, then that often means that it could take more water if I wanted. So we'll just spend a little bit longer working it in so that this lather protects me. Somewhat soft tips. Not super soft, but soft enough to enjoy. And it's possible that they may get softer over time. Especially if I were to make this my only brush in a year or two, it might feel differently and feel even softer. I think we're about ready to shave. Just kind of, there we go. Yeah, see, I could add more water. Do you see the firmer ridges on my face here? I could add more water if I wanted to. All right, what kind of scent am I getting here? Definitely getting those fruity scents, that plum and apricot. But right now, with this amount on my face, it's not overwhelming at all. It's just a light, fruity type scent. I'm wondering when, and I'm hoping it to happen soon, when those other spicy parts to the profile will make themselves known just as much or more than those fruity top notes. That's what I hope. And here we go with the Astra Platinum inside the Lo Storto, roll my R there. And we'll see. Now, the blade feel here has been nice, very consistent, not a lot of chatter. You do have to watch it when you line up your sideburns if you have a slant, because it's not quite as natural feeling. Easily cutting the hair. This handle does get slippery if you have soap on it, if you have lather on it, so make sure you keep that just rinsed off and it's fine. And there we go. Very nice. One thing I love about having a short goatee is I don't have to worry about it holding water after the rinse, and I don't have to worry about it getting in my lather and messing with the consistency. All right, well, I'm just really happy about this brush. I was afraid after trying that 28mm B9A and then the 24mm B9A that it just wasn't going to be a knot for me. I mean, it's no real big deal, right? I mean, I've got other brushes, but this one right here, it's just, I think it's probably as good of a B9A as I'm going to find. All right. Lather looking better. It's got a little bit more hydration than that first pass did. It's almost smooth feeling. Very nice glide here. No chatter from the blade. Just have to see how everything does when we get toward the end of the shave. The fruity scent is still quite a big part of the profile. And yeah, I'm not really noticing one side being more aggressive than the other. I might have to do an experiment, see if I can tell. Because I'm kind of flipping it randomly, you know, and if I'm not noticing, oh, that's more aggressive than the other, you know. Well, that was quick and excellent glide from the lather here. And let's rinse. All right. These fruity notes. Yeah, pretty much it's very dominant. It's not a strong scent, but what you smell is predominantly those sweet, fruity notes. Now, if I was stuck with this soap because of maybe some airport luggage, you know, mistake, and I only had this to shave with, I would not have a problem with it. This lather's nice. So we're trying the different blade tonight in the razor. We're trying this brush out. Obviously, I'm really enjoying it. Big win on that one. And I'm trying out the Carnivale. And so far, it's still predominantly that fruity type scent that I'll probably pass on. But when it came up for sale, I wanted to snag it up because since it's discontinued, if it was something that I liked, and some of the scent notes did intrigue me, and if it was something that I liked, you know, it's unlikely I'd be able to get it again. Well, I'm not experiencing any kind of irritation from this shave. There is enough exposure here with this razor that it does put on the blades where if you were to bear down too hard or take a stroke over a hill in the wrong way, you could definitely give yourself some irritation. But with a good approach system like I've kind of got going, I'm not worried, I'm not concerned at all. Now, third pass, and so I'm gonna do this kind of cross grain, but in the opposite direction. Sometimes it can stir up a little bit of irritation. I want to get this Adam's apple area again, so let's do it with some lather from the bowl. Maybe touch that area up one more time here. I definitely can't go against the grain. Yeah, if I keep pushing that, it's going to give me, I'm going to give myself a little bit of irritation. So I'm just going to quit where I am. I'm confident that it's close enough for my current job since I work from home. So I do find this razor enjoyable to use, despite the fact that my two shaves with it prior to this one have given me some lack of closeness in the trick spot. Everywhere else is great. All right. Face feels good. Definitely no weepers or anything like that. I'm a happy camper. I'm going to rinse and take a closer look at it. That razor, with its torsioning twist of the blade, keeps that blade really solid. And that translates into for me at least, a very efficient shave. Like I said, I cut down 3 days of whiskers like it was nothing. It's very efficient, but it's stealthy and smooth in the way it cuts, and you just don't feel that as aggression. You don't feel it as, you know, boy, I need to be really careful, or I want to give myself some razor burn. Now here at the end of the shave, it's one of those razors that seems to be a little stealthy, where I have a little bit of buildup toward the end of the shave of a slight bit of irritation. I have re-wet my face. Oh yeah, I meant to check my... Yeah, there's just too many tips in this area here. And maybe, I don't know if it's holdover irritation, but I don't think so, because I've had to skip shaving because of my schedule a few days, and it still seems to be ongoing. And so I think in my neck, this has just got enough aggression to make me kind of feel it after the fact, not while I'm doing the job, but after the fact. So that's why I definitely grabbed a balm today, and I'll use Intrepid Man from Sterling. And I wet my face so that it would be a little easier to spread around. We'll see how this scent goes with the Carnivale. I didn't, in this shave, really smell the other parts, the spicy, other notes mentioned in the profile. If you want to look in the description of the video, I will have pasted the scent profile. Of course, you can also search for it on the web from the actual company that made it, either APR, who did the scent. You might find it on their resources, or Storybook. I don't know how long he's going to keep his website open, though, since he closed down that business. And that's why a great service like Try That Soap, maybe try this soap. I can never remember which one it is. I think it's trythatsoap.com. I think Try This Soap is the name they've given to the 2 soaps that they've created based off of that data. So I think the actual physical soaps are called Try This Soap. The website is called Try That Soap, and it's an archive of a lot of good information about soaps and aftershaves, the scent profiles. If you like a certain one, then you can plug that scent into the system there, and then it can recommend some. The recommendation is not super intelligent. It just looks for common notes. And so if a note of patchouli is in there, but you don't even really smell it, then you're going to get other soaps recommended that have patchouli in them. You know, and so sometimes it's better than nothing, I'll tell you that much. And then there's also a scent search where you can, if you like apple, then you can plug in apple, and it'll give you a lot of soaps that have apple in the scent list. Now, obviously the ones you want to look at first, if you're looking for apple, are the ones where it is more intense, a more dominant part of the scent. Unfortunately, that's really hard to do in our current situation, because the makers don't really give out percentages or anything like that, and that's all kind of subjective anyway. And so when you're looking for an apple scent, you never know whether it's going to be the dominant part of the scent or just mentioned in the footnotes somewhere, or just an accent part that nobody ever really smells. You know, you never quite know, but at least it's something. All right. Well, the balm is doing its work. I don't have any feeling of irritation or tenderness right now. So that's the kind of irritation that was generated. Very light, easy to handle with a good balm. All right, now even with the 20-second load, I have ended up with another at least 2 passes here in the bowl. Might even be able to squeeze out 3 if I was kind of miserly. But this lather was pretty much perfect. It was a little thick on the first pass, but that's just the way it happens with me sometimes, since I don't wash my face before I shave. And then the second and third passes get more hydration, and they often will end up, that's what happened, land up. That's end up and land at the same time there. They'll land really in a really good place. And that's what this one did today. Kind of the perfect consistency. You can see some bubbles there, just a few bubbles like that. I don't consider that a big deal at all. I do not. All right. So I think some soaps just bubble. They just do. Even when I've used a smooth bowl, this one has ridges. Even when I've used a totally smooth one, I've still gotten some of those bubbles happen in there. All right, well, how much water did we use with that 20-second load? Looks like maybe I could go down to 15 seconds with this soap base. I believe that I went with 4 and then did an extra half, so I believe 4.5 teaspoons of water. I don't think that's 2.5. It's either 2.5 or 4.5, and I believe I'm experimenting right now. I'm doing some searching for some containers, maybe a beaker that has maybe up to about 50 milliliters, since I often do about that much sometimes. And then what I can do is fill it up to the 50 milliliter line, and then just pour what I need as I go, and then look at it at the end of the shave, and I'll know how much I used up. And then I don't have to try to remember how many refills I did of the syringe, that sort of thing. So I'm playing around with some different ideas. All right, well, the Intrepid Man really seems to go well with this soap. It's taking something that's got some kind of high notes, some fresh notes, kind of like the green Irish tweed kind of high notes, and then these fruity elements are coming along and playing with that in a good way. So I think that's a really good match. Yeah, the spices never really showed up on this one. I'm glad I gave the Carnivale a try. I sure am. But I'm also glad I have other Storybook scents to represent that brand in my collection, because I don't think the Carnivale is going to stay in my collection. But since it's discontinued, and if I sell it, then it's going to, it may be more difficult to get back. I'm going to give it some more thought. Well, the razor I enjoyed it like I have before with the other two blades, the Nasset and the Silver Blue. But again, with this Astra Platinum, I am left with some closeness that I wish was made. Actually, you know, it's not bad. It seems like it's gotten better. Maybe as the skin has changed after the shave, some of the hairs have receded, but for me at least, I don't think I'm going to be able to get as close as I generally prefer with this razor, which is odd because it's got enough exposure. It's moving along my face in such a way that it's giving me just a hint of irritation, but it's not cutting all that well in terms of the actual closeness of the hairs. And that's why this is my tricky spot. That's why everywhere else on my face, I've got a nice, almost baby butt smooth on my cheeks. And over here, it's a uniform direction that does pretty well. But right here next to my Adam's apple, that's why it's a little bit of a proving ground. Very ornery spot. All right, well, I'm really happy with that brush. But the other two items I wanted to check out in this shave, the different blade with this razor and the soap, kind of fell a little short. So we'll move on from there. Anything else to cover? Very soon I am thinking about, I'll do a live shave tomorrow. Unfortunately, you're probably not going to get this video until after that live shave is done. And I'm going to announce the winners, pick the winners of the drawing, the Dickens piff that I put together on the 9th. All right, so I will, so look forward to that on the channel if you're interested. And I think we're good. The Dickens piff was one where if you hung in there during a long shave that I did, and I gave a certain time range to where you had to comment on that video with Dickens as in the last line of the comment that you made. And now if you're seeing this and you didn't know, that I'm afraid it's too late. It was just a reward for those who had gotten to the end of like a 40-minute video, 45-minute video where we had lots to talk about. And I've been wanting to do a giveaway for a while. And so don't rush there to try to get in, because I'm going to look at the dates and make sure that you had to get in by the right date. But that's forthcoming, and we'll do another giveaway. Maybe here. There is a patch of gray mustache hairs right here that always makes me think I've got a little shaving soap, a little lather right there. It's just like an intense population of gray hairs right there. All right. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys. I've definitely given you some information about this particular razor, as several of you requested when I did the mail call. And remember, I don't do against the grain, and your face could be totally different. And so this could be a real win for you. I enjoy using it. So far, despite the tiny bit of irritation I seem to get every once in a while I'm trying to figure out a way to get this hair here to get cut properly. I've tried some sharp blades. This is kind of a middle of the road blade, for me at least. And so I was trying it today. I'll try to branch out and try a few others as well, because I think this is probably a worthy razor for some people, and it may not have that many evaluations out there, especially by someone like me who likes really wet lathers. And so I like the milder razors, that sort of thing. All right, that's enough for tonight. Time to go get some sleep. You guys, take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves.